When a Sigma male cuts you out, it's not just a ghosting move or an emotional shutdown. It's something far deeper. These types of men operate on a completely different wavelength, and when they walk away, it's usually swift, clean, and without explanation. It can leave you confused, wondering what you did wrong, or if you missed some obvious sign. But the truth is, Sigma males don't play by the usual social rules. They don't owe anyone closure or the chance for reconciliation. When they decide someone no longer fits into their life, they cut the cord, and they do it in ways that seem sudden, but are often calculated. This introduction won't sugarcoat it. When you get cut off by a Sigma male, it's brutal, direct, and intentional. It's time to face 11 hard truths about why that happens, and it's rarely for the reasons people think. Prepare to see the raw, uncomfortable reality behind their detachment. Let's dive in. Make sure to watch until the end for a better understanding, and don't forget to support us by liking and joining the Gents Grove community of like-minded individuals. Number 1. You underestimated his ability to see through you. You might think you're playing it cool, keeping certain parts of yourself hidden, but a Sigma male is far more perceptive than most people give him credit for. He's not interested in surface-level interactions or the version of yourself you present to the world. Instead, he picks up on the smallest inconsistencies, subtle shifts in your behavior, and even the things you don't say. His ability to see through facades is sharp and almost unnerving. The moment he senses that you're not being genuine, whether you're exaggerating, hiding your true intentions, or trying to be someone you're not, he's done. There won't be a confrontation or a dramatic fallout. He'll just quietly distance himself until, one day, you realize he's completely gone. The brutal part? He won't waste his time figuring out who you really are beneath the mask. He has no patience for peeling back layers or decoding mixed signals. To him, authenticity isn't optional, and if you're not bringing that to the table, he's not sticking around. It's not personal. It's just how he operates. A Sigma male values his time and energy too much to engage with anything that feels like a game. So, if you thought you could keep him guessing, the reality is you didn't just lose his interest, you lost him entirely. Number 2, you became a drain on their mental energy. Sigma males treat their mental energy like a precious resource, and they don't let anyone drain it unnecessarily. They're highly selective about where they invest their time and attention, always keeping their focus on things that matter to them. If you start to demand too much, whether it's through emotional outbursts, constant need for validation, or just overwhelming them with your problems, they'll pick up on it fast. The moment a Sigma male feels like you're becoming a drain on his mental bandwidth, he won't stick around to get burned out. He doesn't see the point in maintaining a connection that feels exhausting or one-sided. And here's the thing, he won't even try to fix the situation. He's not going to sit down and have a heart-to-heart about boundaries or emotional balance. Instead, he'll simply detach. One day you'll realize he's no longer answering your calls, engaging in deep conversations, or offering the same attention he once did. This isn't about him being cold or uncaring, it's about self-preservation. Sigma males understand their own limits better than anyone, and they won't let themselves be dragged down by energy vampires. Once they sense that your presence is taking more from them than it's giving, they'll cut you out without hesitation. It's a matter of survival, not spite. And in their world, protecting their mental clarity always comes first. Number 3, unreciprocated respect. For a Sigma male, respect isn't just important, it's non-negotiable. He values independence, both in himself and in others, and expects to be treated with the same level of consideration he gives. If he feels disrespected in any way, whether it's through dismissive comments being overlooked or even subtle slights, he won't let it slide. He's not the type to engage in arguments or demand apologies. Instead, he'll quietly cut you out of his life. No drama, no explanations. What makes this even more striking is that you may not realize how much your behavior matters to him. Sigmas rarely advertise their expectations, but they notice everything. If you dismiss his ideas, belittle his efforts, or fail to support him when it counts, it sends a clear message that you don't respect who he is or what he stands for. And once that line is crossed, he won't stick around to explain why he feels disrespected. In his mind, respect should be mutual and effortless. He won't beg for it or fight to be valued. The moment he senses that the respect he offers isn't being returned, he'll make the decision to walk away. Sigma males don't need validation from others, but they demand basic decency. If you fail to give him the respect he deserves, he'll disappear from your life. No second chances. Number 4. He gave you more than one chance, and you blew it. Sigma males aren't the type to call you out on every mistake or make a big deal out of your missteps. They observe, wait, and give silent second chances. You might not even realize you've been given an opportunity to make things right because he won't openly tell you. He'll watch to see if you pick up on your behavior and adjust accordingly. But if you keep repeating the same patterns or show no signs of change, that's when he quietly decides it's over. What's striking about this is how patient he can be. A Sigma male doesn't cut people off impulsively. He understands that people aren't perfect and he gives room for growth. But once he's seen enough, once it's clear that you're not evolving or respecting the chances you've been given, he won't hesitate to shut the door for good. And when that door closes, there's no coming back. He won't hold a grudge, but he also won't reopen the connection. The frustrating part, you might not even realize you blew it until it's too late. Sigma males don't make grand exits or create dramatic scenes. They simply step away, no explanation needed. You'll be left wondering what happened, but for him, it was a clear decision. You were given more than one chance and you didn't change. Now he's moved on and there's no re-entry into his life. Number 5, you became part of the background noise. Sigma males thrive on solitude and mental clarity. They don't need constant stimulation or a crowd of people to feel fulfilled. In fact, they prefer their environment to be as calm and focused as possible, so they can reflect, create, and evolve. If you start to blend into the background, becoming just another layer of noise in his life, it's a red flag for him. This isn't about you being boring or uninteresting, it's more about how your presence fits into his world. When a Sigma male feels like you've become part of the everyday clutter, it's a sign that your connection no longer holds the depth or significance it once had. He's not someone who tolerates mediocrity in his relationships. If your interactions begin to feel like routine or mindless chatter, he'll quietly recalibrate his life, trimming away anything that disrupts his sense of peace. What's brutal is how effortlessly he does it. There won't be a confrontation or an emotional goodbye. He'll just withdraw, removing you from his life the same way he would turn off a noisy appliance. It's not about anger or resentment. It's simply a matter of preserving his mental clarity. For a Sigma male, keeping his inner world free from unnecessary noise is essential. So when he feels like you've faded into the background, he won't hesitate to cut ties and regain the silence he craves. Number 6, your values started clashing with his vision. A Sigma male's life is driven by a strong personal vision. He's not just going through the motions. He has a clear sense of direction, a set of values that guide him, and a deep understanding of what he's working toward. If your values start to clash with that vision, he won't hesitate to distance himself. It's not about him being offended or thinking you're wrong. It's simply about alignment. He has no room for relationships that disrupt his focus or pull him off course. You might not even realize when this conflict starts. Maybe it's the way you handle challenges, choosing comfort over growth, or perhaps how you treat others with a mindset that doesn't resonate with his principles. Little by little, he notices these differences, and in his mind, the gap between you grows. He's not interested in changing you, nor does he want to be changed. For him, it's a matter of practicality. If your values no longer sync with his, then your paths are naturally diverging. He won't argue about it or try to persuade you to see things his way. Instead, he'll quietly remove himself from your life, preserving his own focus and avoiding unnecessary distractions. In his world, there's no time for forces that pull him off track. So, when your values conflict with his vision, he doesn't see it as betrayal, just an inevitable parting of ways. Number 7, he realized you were living a script, not writing one. Sigma males are fiercely independent, valuing authenticity above all else. They live life on their own terms, constantly questioning norms and shaping their own paths. When they meet someone who seems to be living according to society's scripts, whether it's in their career, relationships, or personal development, it instantly signals a mismatch. It's not that he'll judge you for following the typical path, but he'll quickly realize that your life isn't self-directed. He's not drawn to people who are just going through the motions, doing what's expected without thinking. If he senses you're sticking to societal blueprints instead of writing your own story, his interest will fade fast. For a Sigma, life is meant to be lived with intention, exploring ideas and directions that aren't dictated by external pressures. If you're simply conforming to what everyone else expects, you lose the depth and originality he finds compelling. And here's the brutal truth: he won't try to convince you to change. Sigma males don't have the patience for trying to awaken someone else's sense of individuality. He'll just move on, leaving you behind as he continues to carve out his own unique path. He respects people who are writing their own stories, not just living out someone else's expectations. If you're following a script that doesn't challenge or inspire, don't be surprised when he cuts ties without explanation. To him, life is too short to spend time with someone who isn't fully alive in their own narrative. Number 8, he outpaced you and you didn't keep up. Sigma males are driven by constant growth. They're always pushing themselves mentally, emotionally, and sometimes physically. They thrive on challenges and evolution, continuously seeking to improve and refine who they are. While they won't openly compare themselves to others, they are acutely aware of their own progress. If you were part of their journey but started to lag behind, it may not have been obvious at first. He likely kept moving forward, growing and evolving while you stayed in place, comfortable with where you were. The harsh truth? He noticed the gap long before you did. A Sigma male won't drag anyone along on his journey. If he feels like you're not evolving at the same pace, he won't wait for you to catch up. By the time you realize he's outpaced you, he's already mentally moved on. He won't necessarily think less of you, but he'll see it as a natural parting of ways. For him, it's not about superiority. It's about staying true to his path. If you can't keep pace with his relentless personal growth, he'll quietly leave you behind. It's not meant to hurt you, but to preserve his own momentum. Being with someone who doesn't challenge or inspire him feels stagnant, and he can't afford to stay stuck. So, by the time you realize he's gone, he's already far ahead, focused on his next chapter. Number 9, he's protecting his peace over pleasing people. For a Sigma male, peace of mind is non-negotiable. While many people stay in relationships out of obligation or guilt, he operates on a completely different wavelength. He understands the toll that unhealthy dynamics can take on his mental and emotional well-being, and he's not willing to sacrifice that for anyone, not even someone he's close to. His priority is always protecting his inner peace, even if it means walking away from people who expect him to stay for the sake of appearances or comfort. You might think that your relationship or connection is solid, but the moment it starts compromising his sense of tranquility, he'll make a swift exit. Sigma males don't deal with drama, manipulation, or emotional turbulence. They value peace over everything else, and if they sense that being around you is more stressful than it's worth, they'll step away without hesitation. This isn't about being cold or detached, it's about self-preservation. A Sigma male knows that pleasing people at the cost of his own mental well-being is a losing game. He won't stay in a situation just to avoid hurting someone's feelings, and he won't let guilt dictate his actions. If he has to choose between protecting his peace and maintaining a relationship, peace will always come first. He knows that in the long run, it's the only way he can stay true to himself. Number 10, you tried to box him in. Trying to box a Sigma male in is a surefire way to lose him. He's wired to value his autonomy above all else, and any attempt to limit or control that will push him to leave. Whether it's through trying to control his decisions, dictating how he should live his life, or even pressuring him into conventional roles, he'll sense the restriction instantly. To him, this isn't just about setting boundaries. It's about preserving his freedom, which is non-negotiable. He operates on his own terms, And the moment he feels someone trying to steer him in a direction that doesn't align with his sense of self, he'll vanish. He doesn't need confrontation or dramatic exits. He'll just quietly slip away, leaving you to wonder what happened. Freedom for a Sigma male isn't just about avoiding commitments or obligations. It's about having the mental and emotional space to live authentically without being confined to anyone else's expectations. If you try to label him, box him in, or dictate his path, he'll interpret that as a threat to his independence. And once he feels his autonomy is at risk, he won't stick around to negotiate. Instead, he'll sever ties and protect his sense of freedom at all costs. You won't get a second chance to control him because in his mind, freedom isn't something to be compromised. Number 11. He detected your hidden agenda. Sigma males have an innate ability to pick up on subtle manipulations, even when you think you're being discreet. If he senses that you're not being upfront or notices you have an agenda, he'll cut ties immediately. It's not that he's constantly suspicious or paranoid, but his sharp perception helps him read between the lines. When he spots manipulation, it's game over. To him, manipulation is a form of weakness. It suggests that you don't have the confidence or authenticity to be direct, which is something he deeply values. He doesn't want to navigate relationships where games are being played or hidden motives are at work. A Sigma male seeks straightforwardness in every interaction. And once he detects that you're trying to influence or control him through manipulation, you'll find yourself on the outside looking in. He won't waste time confronting you about it, nor will he give you a chance to explain. In his mind, if you're willing to manipulate, you've already broken the trust. His decision to sever the connection will be swift and final, with no drama or second chances. For him, it's not about anger or revenge. It's simply a matter of self-respect. He surrounds himself with people who are genuine, and if you've proven otherwise, he'll protect his space and move on, leaving you to reflect on what went wrong. In the end, when a Sigma male cuts you out of his life, it's never a rash or emotional decision. It's calculated, purposeful, and often silent. He doesn't sever ties out of spite or to create drama. Instead, it's about protecting his peace, his freedom, and his mental space. Whether you underestimated his perception, became a drain on his energy, or tried to limit his autonomy, the result is the same. Once he feels that a relationship no longer aligns with his values or hinders his growth, he'll walk away without looking back. The shocking truth? You may not even realize what you did to push him away because he doesn't owe you an explanation. He doesn't stay out of obligation or guilt. And he doesn't give endless chances. If you compromised his sense of self or disrespected his boundaries, he made a simple choice: to move forward without you. In the world of a Sigma male, there's no room for manipulations, control, or people who don't inspire growth. When he cuts you out, it's not a dramatic exit, it's a quiet, definitive move. And once he's gone, you'll be left wondering what went wrong. But by that point, he's already made his peace and moved on to a space that better serves his freedom and well-being. Thank you so much for watching, gents. See you in our next video. Bye for now, and God bless.